Right, let's get this started. We are back. We are coding. I was supposed to stream another time this week and I didn't because oops, stuff came up. I'm just gonna put my phone on be quiet. It shouldn't even be in this room, but whatever. A bit unplanned, you know. Well, Raindance, welcome from Russia. I hope you're having a wonderful day and that you're staying safe, you know. Yeah, let's jump right into it. Last time we were dealing with the the user company management facade, aka when when you have a company account, you can handle the company, create users, edit delivery addresses, things like that. So we're going to get that working today, do some manual testing. And then we're going to start looking into finishing this up for a temporary, at least, well, intermediate deploy. We have one huge thing left to do, and that is the checkout. But I should be able to deploy it as is once this facade is done. And I've cleaned up a couple of things. The database can't be configured at the moment, for example. So yeah, let's jump in, see what we can do, start testing this, because this code hasn't compiled for 5 hours of work or so. So that'll be fun. Absolutely bug free, right guys? I never have bugs. Do you have bugs? Also, let's see here. Duca, you lovely, wonderful human being, you. Welcome. Deflux, also here. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much, guys. So, do you want to see some code? Do you want to keep looking at my mug? Yeah, sorry, Raindance. I thought that was the question. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. What's your question? I'll switch over to the code in the meantime if you guys don't mind. And we can take it from there. And as soon as I see your question, Raindance, we'll deal with that, all right? For now, code. So this is where we left off. I'm going to start out, we have the errors down here that we didn't get to last time. I'm going to start out with jumping all the way up here, removing this thing. I'm just going to fix a couple of compile errors, more or less. So you can see here that this doesn't implement all of these. And that's because I added cancellation tokens to all of these as well. So I'm actually going to hit the facade and add cancellation token. Actually, I'm going to try a thing. Let's see here. Add a cancellation token parameter to all these functions. Function definitions. Let's see what Copilot does. Well, Copilot closed. I think this just might be exactly what I asked it for. I see MVC in your tags, so I'm beginning in MVVM, and I want to know, is it okay to add directories in the view models directory? Oh, always. Always. You can always add whatever you want to organize it, really. And it's actually very encouraged, otherwise you'll have a huge soup. I'm working on an MVVM project at a customer. We have, I think it's something like 400 views. And those won't be manageable if they are in a single big folder. So yeah, it's more than okay. It's really encouraged, actually. Otherwise, you will be in so much trouble. Organizing your files it's fine. There are no real rules. Put them wherever you want. There are some conventions, but yeah, it's like I don't have it in this project, but I actually like having, if we go into the web project here, I would like to have this and this be in a single folder. And I could do that, but the convention is entirely different. So I would have like I would combine, let's see here. Yeah. This, I'm going to zoom in a bit higher. I would combine this file here with this controller in a single folder. But that's my preference. In this case, I want to follow the conventions, which is this. So if I did this, I would call this something like, just, well, simple category. There. And it's done. Maybe I would actually have something like, yeah, I would probably put /views/category in there, if that makes sense. But yeah, the convention is entirely different, so we're not going to do that. Let's see, we should have a lot fewer exceptions, or sorry, errors in the, if I can find the facade I was just in, this one. Close all but this, there we go. See? Oh, it's still complaining, but I think it's complaining about way less. Yeah, delete delivery address, but that's because I haven't gone that far yet. Let's jump down, change that definition. Hey, Code Rushed! Welcome, thank you for the raid. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day over there, Murky. No, this is not Unity Royal. This is ASP.NET MVC. It's a web project. We've come to rate you. You have indeed, and I appreciate it very, very much. How did the stream end, guys? What happened in the end there? Let's see, I'm going to have to find the delete. Here we go. So how's Dex? Bugs were fixed. That is a good thing to do. I'm planning on doing some of that today here as well. I just need to get this to compile. Hey, Frixilla. Welcome. And I'm afraid party doesn't work here, Weirdbeard. Oh yeah, absolutely, gents. Just put everything in miscellaneous and name the files 1, 2, 3, 4. It's past my thesis project and I want to do a remake of this project to fill my portfolio with that. Can't you, well, first of all, congratulations. And can't you use the thesis project as is? Hey, there's something I wish we could do. Since you're talking about making things complicated, Jens. In another civilized language, we can do define. Actually, can you read this properly? Maybe I should do that. Define Jens string. Hashtag define Jens. Not if, I said string. New. And then we can do, what's it doing? New. There, and then I can do Jens boy equals Jens. Beat that. Well, you have your thesis project. Did you do it yourself? And if you did, why don't you just put that in your portfolio? What does this do in C++? I think you know exactly what it does. I love the preprocessor. You can do so many horrible things with it. You can, for example, do define false true and define true false. Why is it? Oh yeah, it's because this isn't valid. You can do that. So now you have a case where if let's actually do this. If my bool equals true is entirely different than my bool equals true. It's so fun. Hey Pablo, thank you very much for the follow. You're very welcome here. Try to not do dumb things and make Murky cry. That whole thing was C++. In all fairness, if you do this, you are a certified asshole. It's a way of making sure you can't be fired. and or just making life a living hell for everyone else. So don't do that. Am I correct, Murky? Right, so what are we doing here? Hey, Fictional Codes. Welcome, thank you for the follow.
Fictional Codes is now following.
So, we have 2 new followers here, Pablo and Fictional Codes. And you're subscribing, man.
Pablo
What's up?
_codes just subscribed.
We also have Royal. So, and of course Raindance. Tell me about yourselves. What are you up to? Who are you?
Royal
This is a very open channel. I
9000
mean,
is now following.
we talk to each other and we have fun in chat, right? Tasks and Parallel. Well, Parallel helps you out with tasks. Parallel is a static class that will help you create the amount of tasks that will fit your system. So you can run things in parallel at once, and it has some nice what's it called? Syntactic sugar, more or less. It's helper functions. But tasks, you can do whatever you want. You can await them, whatever. Basically, I'm just gonna write some code here. Var my tasks equals list task. I need to new that, of course. So we have that. And then do a for int I equals 0, I is lower than 10, I plus plus, right? Now I can do my task, tasks.add, perfect. It helped me out. And down here I can do that, see? So right now we're running all of these in parallel, which means that even though we're waiting 10 times, it's only going to take a second. Because it's going to wait 10 times at the same time. Let's see. Yeah, I believe Parallel uses tasks in the backend, or either that or it uses Thread. I use a tool called Zoomit from Microsoft. It's Power Tools. So I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. I can type. And I can also just draw. Oh yeah, I free draw as well. Or I can just zoom and now it's live and I can actually write my code. And now I need to press Ctrl 4. So yeah, I think it's task-based. I think you're correct. So what I do here is I would do parallel.for 0 10 I. There we go. This will kick off the same sleep. Oh yeah, I'll give you a link. Hold on. Zoom it. It's Microsoft sysinternals. These days, I'd say we use tasks and await a lot, but this isn't wrong. It's still perfectly functioning code, and yeah, you can do whatever you want. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. Well, it's a part of sysinternals. Hey, Goku, welcome. I prefer this. Sorry, this. But that's my preference. This is entirely valid. And that's the good thing. You can do things multiple ways. So how are you, Goku? And I'm going to try and figure out what the heck I'm doing here. We're getting the current customer. I don't think we need the entire current customer, though. We only need the customer ID. Oh yeah, and I need to send in the cancellation token when I do it as well, but I'll deal with that function in a second. Where is my get function? Let's jump up here. Go to the definition of this, and this is my user ID. So I think that's actually everything I need here. So I'm going to remove that. Say var customer ID. There, and we need a semicolon, of course. Oh, how long have I been doing C# and .NET? Let's see. I'd say early 2004, so 19 years. Yeah, code at last, no games. Yeah, I'm not a game dev. I dabbled like 15 plus years ago, but nah, I never really stuck. I did a couple of basic, like those match games and things, but thanks for that, Royal. I'm 38. I'm not that old, right? I turned 38 this Saturday, so I was very early on the net train. Before that, I was doing C++, some Perl, Perl, which is the world's only write-only language. I love it. It came from VB. Hey, thank you, Weirdbeard. Much appreciated. Did some Delphi, one of those. Hey, thank you, Royal. Much appreciated. And Alu. Hey, man. Welcome. Didn't see you pop in there. Let's see, what did I do before Delphi? I did some QBasic, Visual Basic as well, and even before that I started out with ZX Basic on my dad's 80s computer. Hey McNuts, thanks. Why did I choose C# from C++? Well, I wanted to do more web dev, and C++ you have to go through CGI ISAPI, I think. No, not today, gents. Saturday, so 3 days ago, on the 17th. But thank you. Thank you very much. If you want to do web in C++, you have to, first of all, you have to compile it as usual. You'll get an exe, and then you have to add it via an ISAPI filter into IIS or into Apache, which is what we used back then. I think we use other things these days, like, I don't know, Nginx. And then it was very quick to run, but it was very terrible to deploy. So I went over to C# to do ASP.NET instead of ASP Classic, which was a cluster F. It was great when you did some small things, but then you want to do something big, and ASP Classic turned into living hell. Do you miss using pointers, malloc, and alloc? Well, let me just show you a thing here. So this is going to error out because I need to mark this as unsafe. Don't do this, please. So we have int star my pointer. There we go. And now, as usual, I can do, let's see, yep. And then I can do my pointer plus equals 4. 2. See, I can do it. We have full access to pointers. The thing is, to be able to do this, I need to mark this function and this DLL as unsafe. So all of a sudden, I'm telling, right here, I'm telling .NET and the garbage collector that, like, nope, hands off, this is mine, I'll deal with it. You can also do things like memory alignment in structures and classes. The only time that I've had to use pointers in actual C# coding is when doing interop, pinvoke, which again, try not to in general. And when I used sharpdx and I had to send some data, memory aligned data, over to the graphics card. I also did a texture blitter with pointers because that was way faster. But no, exactly, Weirdbeard, I do not miss pointers. Unsafe code, I mean, it gets compiled. It's just you're telling the compiler that I know what I'm doing. Don't mind this. So when I do stack alloc like that, that memory is mine. The garbage collector doesn't care about it. It's up to me to handle it, to deal with the pointers, to make sure I don't have a hanging memory address somewhere. And I need to delete it. I'm not entirely sure how to do that, to be honest. Stack. I don't know. Maybe it's delete. No. Whatever. There's a keyword for it. But again, you're telling the system that this is unsafe. I'll handle it. So, as a general rule, don't do it. Exactly. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, true. You can use span as well. Honestly, I have basically no like good. What's it called? I have no experience using spans, which might sound bad, but yeah. Where's company address coming from? That's ID. Am I trusting the... I'm trusting the user here. Let's preferably not do that, alright? Trust me, IR dev. Oh yeah, gents, that's why it's called unsafe. It's like the compilers just screw you if you mess up. So this here, this object comes from the user. Let's preferably not, you know. Actually, wait. What am I saying? This, I don't know what I'm doing. This is just the address ID that I'm trying to modify. So I'm painting up this huge picture of everything is terrible, and it really isn't. So what do we need for this? This is to update. So what I will need is a repository or delivery address repo. I love this. From here, I want to do address. I always use double D's here. Double D's. This project is a web shop. It was built in a system called WebForms, if you've ever heard of that, which is a technology that kind of went out of fashion in 2011. And I started this project in 2012 because IR is smarts. Back then, MVC was fairly unstable. It was the, in general, preferred method when starting new projects, but you also couldn't really, well, it was slow AF to start with. And yeah, WebForms was more mature. These days, not so much, because WebForms requires framework. Framework is not dead, but it's kind of been abandoned in a hole in the ground. We just haven't filled it with dirt yet. I worked in WebForms on a healthcare app for 5 years. Yeah, then you know exactly what I'm doing. So right now I have, in fact, dealt with the entire outside of the application. It's now in views and controllers. What I do have is this little folder. That thing contains a few of these. That's going to be fun. Right now I'm dealing with getting all of the logic that's used in the front end over to net standard. After that, I will take everything in the admin interface here and I will move that out to its own project. Yeah, that'll be on its own off to the side, and I'll make sure to recompile and change this main project over to netcore. Well, net, whatever the number's going to be. I'm saying 11, but it'll probably be 12 or something. I don't know. Let's see, C-store data types. That's great. Let's do this then. I love this. What's it saying? Yeah, it's just complaining that I'm not using address model. Get rid of that. And this might return empty. We have no customer there. Oh, I actually do need a customer here. Or customer equals wait, get current customer, cancellation. There, perfect. We have everything we need. Else, and this will be fun. In all of these cases, I'm going to be modifying this, which means I want to do wait, start transaction. What color is my Bugatti? I don't have a Bugatti. I have a Polestar. I wish I had a Bugatti as well, but I still want my Polestar. Let's see. So the last thing I was doing in my last job was moving things from framework to net 6. Hey, you're doing what I'm doing. Exactly what I'm doing, actually. Sales, finance, and inventory. That's open source. So you're talking about an ERP system. The problem with ERPs is that they are usually fairly specialized to the country they're made for. That makes sense. So I'm from Sweden. Not sure if you can tell, you probably can. But you can't really... sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. You can't really use American software for finances in Sweden. But I mean, let's take a quick look. Welcome to Swedish. ERP system open source. Top 9 open source systems. So you have these, for example, ADMPR, Apache Off-Biz, Dolibar, ERP Next. I mean, all of these will do sales, finance, and inventory. And probably a ton more stuff. Oh, with C# code. .NET. Well, here's one. Free open source web software, extreme customization and pluggability, ASP.NET Core 7. Not called Core anymore by that point, but whatever. Yeah. I mean, I have no idea what this is. Homepage. Let's take a look at the documentation. What do we have? Entities. Okay, this is used to build a ERP, I think. Isn't it? This has like nothing. The new native AOT, from what I understand, it's going to be fast loads, of course, and better pruning. I could be wrong, though. I think it's very important for Maui code, especially, I think. And also Blazor will benefit greatly by it, because it'll be better at pruning out the parts you don't need, which means the binary sizes will be smaller. All right, let's take a look at this. This will need to be moved. And we can do an if address model, customer ID. Already, if customer ID is null, can't be null, because that's not nullable. So I'm going to have to check against 0 in this case, but let's actually do this. Bool is new is false. Actually, is new is false. We're going to remove the default value just for clarity, and down here we're going to say is new true. All right. Down here we have if is new. Address model, customer ID, not the current user ID though. we need this to be this, which means I will need it outside. There, I'm actually going to move that up a little bit. I'll put it up here. It's before we start dealing with any data there. Let's see here. So what have we got? Is new, active. If we are new, we want to set the customer. Why aren't you helping me? Oh, because I'm missing a comma. Perfect. Here we go. And then we need another one down here. Actually, I don't need that there. God's sake, what am I doing? Like so. Okay, so if it is new, one do unit work dot no. Delivery address repo, save. We need to await this. Oh yeah, there's no underscore there. There we go. Save, and we need a cancellation token on that. Otherwise, if it's not new, one do await, update. Perfect. And then of course want to do await unit work commit. There we go. Now we have a map that we need. So we need to map from delivery address to company address DTO, which is fine. But I already have that. I just need the cancellation token as well. And I need to wait it. The thing is, I'm doing async like everywhere, just in case. In this case, let's see here. This boilerplate, have you used AutoMapper? I have used it and I don't really like it. My models are fairly small and they're not terrible to map manually. And if I want to do anything like an AutoMapper, I would do a source gen. So I can double check the code. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I could use it as a tool to generate a mapper, but then I would really want to go through it and do it manually afterwards. Having to do reflection on runtime is... I'd rather not. I think the AOT compiler works on IL. So that should be shared between F# and C# and honestly VB, but don't quote me on it. 2 levels on nesting. Oh, the code looks clean. Thank you very much. It doesn't always. Trust me, sometimes I generate total crap. Okay, let's head on to the next one, which is how could you explain the concept of unit of work? Do you know what a database transaction is? If you start doing a thing to 2 tables in the database and you crash after the first one. So say I want to create a customer and I want to create a customer address or add the first address. Or the login. Let's say that I have a customer and I have a login. So I create the customer first and then I create the login. If I crash after creating the customer, I've got it hanging. It's dangling. So I have a transaction which makes sure they both get in or none of them do. What a unit of work does is when you have repositories. Because in this case, I've got multiple classes writing to the database. So instead of directly accessing it, I use unit of work get repository. So I get it that way. This will track that repository. The repository will use the same connection to the database, even though it's multiple repositories, because the unit of work is kind of like a factor in that sense. And then I just do on the unit of work, I start a transaction. I do what I want. In this case, I save or update. Could actually move that to down there, but doesn't matter. Actually, let's grab that and put it down here. Let's not do stuff in the wrong place, right? And then I commit it. if I crash anywhere between here, anywhere here, it won't get saved. Simple as that. In this case, it would be fairly simple to do in another way, but say that I also wanted to update, the customer or whatever. Doesn't using scope create a new transaction scope? Yes, but that would require you to have access to the entity framework in this case, and I don't want that. Because the point here is that at some point, there's a lot of points going on, I want to move some of the data over into Cosmos or MongoDB, probably Mongo. Because some data, like the products, for example, is not really relational. It's more documents. So that's why I use repositories, which is why I use unit.work. And what I'll have to do when I start splitting these is I will have to implement a new unit.work class. Right now I have, let's head to the implementation of this. I have this. This is my implementation, and that uses a single, a single EF core context. And then we have this. So when I do commit, I will loop through these, do save changes, and then on the currently loaded transaction, I will do, commit. Roll back, just rolls it back, and start transaction. It just begins a transaction here. There's no magic. This is probably the most magic part, which I'll have to redo when I move away from Ninject over to, what's-it-face? Over to Microsoft's DI container instead. But this works. It works quite well, actually. But when I move over to using both Mongo, for example, and EF, I'll need to rewrite this to use multiple different contexts here. And that'll be a doozy, because all of a sudden I have two different database engines, and I want to keep transactions and keep them atomic, I think? That'll be exciting. I know it's doable, but it's not terribly easy. It's the issue. All right. Yeah, having to be atomic. All right. Let's see. So I don't have the customer object here, which is because I do need it out here. So let's put that here. I think this is a good order. And then we save it and we map it. All right. In this case here, I want to get the cancellation token first. Now I want to get a delivery address with that ID. Actually, I almost missed a thing. If I'm loading one here, because I'm just loading by the ID, I need to make a check here. If I love this. So having just worked with the Mongo client, off the bat, it doesn't look particularly transaction friendly. I will have to ask Luce about that. Yeah, Royal, I always have VODs on, so you can just come in whenever you want and watch them. I'm also considering uploading this to YouTube in a raw format, so it'll just be this. Hey, McNets, take care. Will you be on later tonight? Fictional, it is possible that I'll have to go with Cosmos, which is basically a layer on top of Mongo. I don't know. I haven't gone that far. I'm gonna try to keep everything I can atomic. Alright, so I think this should work. I'm gonna have to try that. It's the same name as the channel, Thindle, but there's only gaming videos on there right now. I'm gonna be removing those, so this would be the first video. Alright, so I am getting... Alright, what the heck was I doing? I was up here. I was checking that the customer actually owns the address I'm trying to load, and I'm going to do the same thing down here. Let's see, first of all I need this. I can just steal this line. I'm doing a pure parse here because I know in this case that it would be an int. It's not always going to be an int, but in this case I know it will be so. Although, honestly, do I need to do this? I don't. I can deal with this as a string and it'll be converted to an int in the repository. Great. Let's do var model equals, wait, love this. Then we're going to do the same, bang. So we have that, we know that it's loaded. Now we're going to do a unit of work, start transaction, need to wait that. Do we have an active flag on this? I'd prefer that to deleting. I am not entirely sure. Model dot, we have an active flag. Perfect. In this case, we know that we already have one because we're never creating one. And then we are going to commit this. Transactions C#.net on MongoDB. Oh, awesome. Robert Walters. So what do? They have updates, get collection. Yeah, it's a session, all right. You start a transaction. The problem here is doing both a MongoDB and a SQL Server transaction at once. I am overdoing it with the cancellation tokens. My idea is that some things might be sync, some things might be async, but I always want the token to be there if I need it at some point. Take, for example, get current customer here. Actually, no, let's take map instead because that's an even dumber one. Let's scroll down. So we have map here with a cancellation token and we are awaiting it. Let's go to that definition. We do absolutely nothing async here. But if we ever do, I want to have it there. Yeah, exactly. So when I did the absolute base layer, I made sure to require a cancellation token. So every time that I use it, I have to add it, so I never forget it as I bubble upwards towards the UI. And Royal, if you're wondering what the cancellation token is for in a more general context, it will trigger, for example, if the user exits their browser, so the session, the HTTP session cancels, it closes. It'll then send that cancellation token, tell everyone that I want to cancel, so it'll stop the compute. If I'm doing something that's fairly heavy, that is quite important. Because we don't want to spend cycles doing things that the user will never see, you know. There. We are done with that, and we have one compiler, I think. What would that be? That would be entities, because we don't want that. Bye-bye. All right. No more compilers. We have a couple of warnings, so we'll take a look at those as well. We're probably not going to fix all of them. Because if you take a look in my error list here, we do have some issues. However, look at that number. That's fun. No, cancellation tokens have been around for ages. Really, really, really long time. You can always, in here, I'm just going to do an example. I can always do if cancellation token is cancellation being requested, and I can just return. In this case, I might, yield break from an enumeration. So if I'm returning a list of something that I'm reading from a database, I'm like getting 100,000 rows to compute something. In that loop, that yield returns an entry. I would check the cancellation token either after every row or after a couple of rows. And if it's canceled, no one's going to be listening on the other end, then why would I keep reading data? Implement interface. And yes, please. Here we go. Get from customer ID, and we are in login repository. This will return a list of logins. Let's see here. Return. Wait.
No file is now
iQueryable.
following.
Hey, Novail. Novi. Hey. Thank you very much for the follow. It's very much appreciated. Yeah, this should be read-only. Not sure why it isn't. And what's the problem here? iQueryable login, but where? Yeah, it's right there. What are you complaining about? Oh, we're missing a thing. And I need to convert from string to int, although I can do that here because I know in this EF login repository it is an int. That's the backend key. Var customer ID as int. Perfect. I'm not sure what to call this. Yeah, exactly. As soon as one thing's async, you make the whole tree async. And if you have to use a async void, do it, but please don't. I think the only time that you should use an async void is if you're dealing with events triggered, like delegate events. So if you're writing any code that triggers events yourself, don't use delegate events. Use actions. You can use actions, for example, and send that in there, and then you can use plus them and minus them the same way, and then just call it. It'll call all of them. I didn't know that was doable, by the way. That was very new for me. So you can actually do, and again, I'm just var a equals new action. I think it's this. Now we have an action. I think I can do this. I can do, you know, var I equals 0, I plus plus. Let's copy that. And then I'm gonna do await a. Can't I do that? Do I need to invoke? Invoke async. There we go. Invoke async. What the heck? Oh, right. Never mind. It would have to be a func of type task. Whatever. Func lists are also, I think. And yeah, you can plus them as well. See? I'd have to do async right there. Sorry, I'm just testing this stuff out right now. There. And I will do await a. And I will be 0, 1, 2, 3. 3. Instead of, you know, creating the old stuff. Yeah, this is way better. Do you recommend create Blazor IJS runtime methods as extensions or a service? If you're ever considering doing anything static, I'd say don't. Because static things are horrible to test. So I would most probably... I'd use extensions to register things. Because extension methods can't be unit tested either, because blah. Yeah, tasks are async. Correct. What you want to do is extension methods to register services, etc., and then build services. But make sure you use them as a dependency injected interface, or with that. Or at least dependency inject them, so you can replace them when you do tests. It's kind of like JavaScript in the IJS runtime. Well, I mean, you're calling into JS, so it's kind of the definition of being JS. There's one thing that I'm doing really poorly here, and that is this. Can anyone spot the issue? There's a huge issue here. It works. This should be a little thing called iAsync enumerable. Should be that, more or less. This, though, is, I'm not sure if it's impossible, but it's more or less impossible to use in Framework. What's good here is you can yield return out of here, even though it's async. You can't yield return out of this. Which again means that, as you loop through it, if the cancellation token ever gets triggered, you can stop it. So if you want to yield out of a async method, you need an iAsync enumerable. Nope. It's a horrible practice and I'm going to change it, but right now I need to do it because it's being consumed in Framework. And Framework has very, very bad support for iAsync enumerable. So right now I can't yield them out. I can't use them as enumerables. I just have to get them as a list. Which means, on the good side, this actually takes in the cancellation token and deals with, canceling out the entire way. So, good, bad. Could be better. Let's call it that. Because right now it enumerates the whole thing here. At this point. And preferably, I would like to enumerate it as I use it. No. Nope. Because you can't enumerate a task. So I can't, I could have it return IEnumerable and then return a list, but I have to use it as a list anyways on the other side. So no, in practice, no. I'm going to go through and change all of these once it's moved over to net 11, whatever. So this is a multi-step process. Somewhere less than halfway, I think. I hope to be able to. Could you have it return as an IEnumerable? Yeah, sorry. Okay, it's handling the cancellation token all the time. Slows down the processes. Always keeping the context. Hey, modem.
5 is now following.
Yeah, modem 5. Thank you for the follow, man. Much appreciated. Or woman. I have no idea and I don't judge. Everyone's welcome here. Let's see here. Okay, it's handling the cancellation token all the time, slowing down the application processes. Always keeping the context of the cancellation token per transaction. It exists. It's on the heap. So yeah, it exists the entire way through. It's just a pointer. Well, it's a reference, but yeah, it's a reference object. It's the same object the entire way down. It's never being copied. So the only thing that's being copied is the memory address to it. That ends up on the stack. How many times does it hit the database in EF context? I think, it runs a single query, but I don't think it gets one row and then asks the database to pause. So it doesn't, rerun the query. It just runs the query once, tells the database like, hold it here until I'm done. And then it asks for, give me one more, give me one more, give me one more. And then if you cancel out, it's just says, stop this query, more or less. Oh yeah, it is yield. That's the whole thing. From an IAsync enumerable, you can yield. You can't yield from a task list login. It is an enumerable. Well, caches or runs it one row at a time, sure. Sure. I mean, the database engine has compiled the query, but it hasn't even executed the whole thing before you like get that far. So it's quite fast. Don't need to worry about that. Let's run this. Actually, let's compile this, see how badly we mess up. Customer type exception. Okay, so what are we doing here? String to customer type. All right. So we have type there. What's it complaining about? Oh, right. I have all of these as well. It's probably a follow-up error. See, I have everywhere I call this, I need to send in a cancellation token. And that means I'm going to have to add a cancellation token. This, at this point, we are in the controller, and this is given by the MVC engine, the web engine. So this is where I get the token from, the first step of everything. I'm just going to add that everywhere in these functions. Addresses, doesn't need a comma. Thank you. Have that there, get user. Bang. Why isn't it helping me all the time? Right, I'm gonna, let's see, is it Control Enter? Nope. I don't know. There's a button for asking GitHub Copilot to finish this row. You love functions. Are we talking mathematical functions or another type of functions? And Jailing Storf, thank you very much for the raid with 24 people. That's freakishly wonderful. It's more than I usually get. Thank you. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you here before. I have seen Surly. And Surly is a wonderful, wonderful human being who also flies drones. So tell me about yourselves. Jason was looking for a raid target and I nominated you. Oh, thank you very, very much. So welcome. I'm Thindel, Eric, Swedish developer working on converting a WebForms project on framework into a net 7, 8, 9, probably 11 by the time I'm done with this. I'm currently in the step of changing all of the logic to be supported in net standard, so it can work both against framework and core. I've moved all of the logic of the front end out of the actual code, converted front end to MVC. Got a raid and run. Thank you for the raid recommendation. Well, thank you for popping by and thank you for the raid. And hey, take care. Hope to see you around again. So anyways, I've converted the entire front end to MVC, which is way closer to later convert into core than going straight from WebForms in. So step right now is I'm trying to get the logic DLLs, the DLLs that contain all logic, obviously, to compile as net standard. And then after that, and by what I'm doing to get there right now is I'm converting everything to use repositories instead of using the old school direct access to Entity Framework. So it's accessing Entity Framework core through repositories instead. And since I make sure to add cancellation tokens everywhere, I'm currently adding those. Bang, thank you. And bang. No? There we go. This should actually compile now. It does not, in fact, compile. or it does not compile. Customer type exception. All right. Okay. Let's change these to strings actually. Don't need to be, I mean, they just can be two stringed anyway. There we go. And I can remove that then. I try to remember to do this to all my namespaces when I run across them. Run it. See how badly this explodes? The answer is slightly. We're loading, we're taking our time. I need to profile this to figure out what's taking so long. Might do that after I've checked the functionality here. I have no unit tests for this yet. That's also part of doing what I'm currently doing, is being able to test the code. Oh my god, that took a while. Right, let's pull this up. This is Swedish. I am terribly sorry. I wish it wasn't. Test@local.com. We're committing a transaction. What's that transaction though? Oh well. Return true. All right, so we're clearing out the password reset key if one was set. I should check this instead. If dbuser.password reset key is not null, then I want to do this. Bang, thank you. Don't need to, clear that field and resave it to database every single time. Let's lukewarm reload this and keep going. Right, so this is a single person account, which you can see because I don't have access to any of the company stuff. But let's grab that, put that there, go into the admin instead, and I think I have a different user. Well, Royal, again, thank you very much. And I tried to keep it, AMA. It says so in the description. And that is, I like sharing. Let's see here. This is a person. It's a person. I have too many people. This is a company. And we have some K-tests. Let's grab that one. I'm going to log out. We do from my page. Log out. Again, please tell me I have the password here. I do, in fact, not have the password. So I will have to do that. Which we can, in fact, take a look here. See, this time I am setting the password key to a GUID. There. Request a password reset. This one does stupid things. This is actually a security issue that I'm having. What happens? What's the difference here? What could the security issue be with requesting a password change? Attempting to log in has the same issue. Anyone have any great ideas? See, I'm going to have to open my email, so I'm going to switch over to camera only real quick. I'd rather not show you all my emails. How to build good architectures and do well low-level design for projects. Oh, how long is a string? First of all, look up what kind of application you're looking to build. Then look up the conventions. Doing things your own way, I am 100% for that. But also sometimes it can really help to follow what others have done before. All right. So don't reinvent the string is what we call it in Swedish. Don't do a not made here. Not invented here. Oh, speaking of drones, I put a couple of more videos. Oh yeah, Duca, thank you very much. We have a extension that I built for Studio. which helps you not dox yourself. I will show you that in just a second. I'm going to reset this password real quick like. There we go. This is not. I'm going to switch over to the scene. I'm just going to close my email again. And back in the scene, and the username is this. So we will add that. Add password. There we go. Password has been reset. I'm going to have to look at those. Okay, first time hitting this facade. How badly will this crash? Oh, by the way, I'm going to go back one single step and talk about what I just started talking about and then left. Here, if we are trying to create a password reset, get account, I need to find the function, update password, no. Get orders, no. Register, commit, validate. Come on, where's the method I'm looking for? Oh yeah, here we go. This is the one. Actually, no, it isn't. Complete password change, get account. Are you telling me I'm gonna have to go to the front of everything just because I can't find what I'm doing? Password reset key. Where is that used? In login, in data EF. No, that's not the one. In CStore data. There we go. 8 references. There's NuGUID. Save user. That was not the one I was looking for. Use facade. Here we go. Here's something. Request password change. Yeah. This in here. I'm just going to talk about this issue here real quick, Royal, and I'll tell you about the project again. If the user doesn't exist, if the user doesn't exist, I can't talk. If the user exists, we do all of this. If it doesn't, we do nothing. Which means that if I spam this endpoint, I can find out if someone has an account. And that is not good. We are leaking information, GDPR and all that stuff. So if I have your email, I can figure out if you have an account on this page. Same thing with a login. Do I have the login function in this file? I don't think I do. Current document, login. Login repository. No, I don't. Anyways, if I'm trying to log someone in and I can't find the user, I'm going to return out. But if I can find the user, I'm going to try to hash their password and check it. That's a security issue. What I want to do is, at the least, you want to hash the password before you look for the user. That way, you know, you get the time a little bit closer, even if you have a database miss. So it's harder, at least, to figure out if a user exists or not. So if I know that an email is in the system, I can always start spamming. Try to, you know, locate the email address or the password in some way. If I don't even know that the email exists, then yeah. Hey, Finite, thank you. Happy Tuesday to you as well. I hope you're doing well. I saw that you were online just a little bit ago. What were you doing? Tell us about your stream. Instead of login, use username. Then if username equals null, the login is a type. And the type contains more than just the login, like the username. This entire system is built as a multi-user thing. So I have a customer that can contain many logins. And the login, hey, Pluralsight, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome, everyone. And then, yeah, sorry, the login is connected to a user. So you can see user data email here, for example. Full of raids today. Yeah, it's been a couple and I'm loving it. So Pluralsight, Jeremy, I guess. Tell me, what were you up to? Tell me everything. I want to hear. Is it the JavaScript game? Yeah, third, I think. Yeah. I'm loving it. Yeah, debugging the game. How's it going? It's a mess? Well, it's a work in progress, so it's allowed to be a mess. Anyways, we were doing manual tests. Let's click this button. I want some bets. Will this crash? How do I start a poll? Will this crash and burn? Yes. Yes. Oh, heck, yes. And we can add one more, that would be maybe. Let's start the prediction and see if anyone jumps onto this. So guys, will this crash and burn? No one betting anything. Hey, there we go. Oh, heck yes, has a couple. 100, 130, 160. Is this Duca? Everyone is expecting this to go badly. Thank you very much, guys. You really trust my skills here. Where did they go? I actually haven't used that feature before. Oh well, it's somewhere. Everyone thought this would crash and burn horribly. Oh heck yes. Let's click the button. It didn't. Let's try updating this. Click. We're in a commit transaction and we updated. Let's go back and it says 4. Awesome. Okay, first view works. Save that. Go. Head back. These pages look horrible. I know. Users, I am so sorry, about the what this looks like. Let's update a user. Save. Go. And I think that got updated actually. Test 3.1 updated. It's making administrator. Head back, update, go in. That did not, in fact, update. All right, so that would be the first error. Let's open Notepad. Setting a user to an administrator does nothing, or at least doesn't reflect in the UI. I'm going to take a look at the main user. Yeah, so the UI does reflect the current state, which means it's not updating. Go back, click, save. Let's step out of this. And I'm going to see what we're actually doing here. Login repo update. Is admin false? Why is this being set to false? I mean, this is the issue here. Company user is admin is false. Do I have a mapping error of some kind? Yeah, I must, because I mean, I'm getting this thing straight in. And it's false. All right, so we have a error in the view, I guess. Exactly, I don't think the build is being set. All right, this project is for a web shop. Actually, it's for a web shop system. And there is 6 web shops running at that moment. And it's built in WebForms. We're updating it to NetCore. Let's take a look in the view and see if the name matches there. Let's head into user company, user. We have isAdmin of the type checkbox. If isAdmin checked, otherwise nothing. And value is admin. What is the issue here? Let's head back here. Open this one. Why aren't you opening? Because we are paused. Let's open our little debugging tools. Split that up. Close the console, don't need that. I'm going to take a look at this. Inputs. We have value false. If I click this, we still have value false. Is that the issue? I think it is, because if I'm just going to try a thing. I'm going to set this to true. Then head into the function first. We are, we have login repository, I think, and then get from email, use facade, right here, I think, no? Come on, I'm in the company facade where I just was. All right, let's put a breakpoint right here. Now I'm going to go into this. I'm going to manually set this to true. All right. And then I'm going to hit the button. Save. Now it's true. Yeah, it is that. So how do I change this easily? In sysadmin is... Yeah, it did work. So now I need to figure out how to change that and why it's been working everywhere else. Is there a good way to not do this? What if I just remove this? Let's put that right there. Let's run everything. Remove that. I'm going to try this again. Sorry, I shouldn't update it. I should have reloaded. All right, so we're checked. Let's uncheck that. Now we're false. Good. We're going to check it. Save. Now we're still false. Less good. Oh yeah, I can set it. But I want it to be set or not set based on this checkbox. I mean, that feels dead simple. So when I change the value, it should change here as well. Why is this even a problem? Map checkbox to bool MVC5. Editor 4, no, I don't want to use that. Yeah, it's a boolean. In this case, right here. Nope, not a string, but it's checking the value. And it's using the value there to determine if it's true or false. So here they're saying, you know, use, actually no, there's something different. Yeah, see, they're using checkbox 4 and stuff, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, this is not what I'm after. I mean, if I just try that, let's set one up right next to it. HTML checkbox 4. And let's remove this and then look at the generated HTML. Now we're going to do that. I think this will be pretty crap, but I might be wrong. I wouldn't mind being wrong. Well, it kind of looks the same. What if I save it now? This admin is true. This admin is false. All right, so now it works. And that's fine. The question is why? Let's take a look here. Again, select this. See, it's using a thingy. When I click here, it does nothing. So how does this work then? You see, it does nothing here. So we're using an input with a name. Sorry, wait. We're using an input with a name, and then we're using another input with the same name. One is a checkbox, one is hidden. Shouldn't I return a list of? This confuses me. I mean, it works, but why? Should we just accept that it works? This is going to be rewritten anyways. Let's just accept it for now. It's horrible. Here's some remnants. It's horrible to just accept something and assume that it works. You can use multiple things with the same named input. It will send it multiple times in the form data. But you don't want to in general, because it doesn't make sense. If you do it in a query string, it'll be mypage.html a equals 1 and a equals 2 and a equals 3.
Engineer is now following.
Hey, Engineer Anger. Engineer Anger. I think that's what it's supposed to be, right? Thank you for the follow and welcome. Welcome to the stream. And it does the same thing. Sorry, it does the same thing in forms, and that would end up as a int array in the type. So that works. Let's move on. I don't want to test all this. I'm going to create a new user here. Back. I need to run this as well because we're in a breakpoint. Go. Let's create a new user. What's the emails of the other ones? Let's do that. Create new. 3.2. Company user test. Company 3. User 2. Save. That did not work. And yeah, no crap, we didn't find one. Would be weird if we had. All right, line 48 in the user company controller. And I guess that means here, why are we not unraveling that exception? Go to implementation, please. Right, let's put that here. Oh, wait. Okay, so we're getting the user. And that doesn't exist. And that doesn't exist. Go to users. Yeah, so we haven't created one yet. Right, breakpoint time. Save, get current, delete user. Don't want to delete them, not quite yet. Save. Here we go. Put a breakpoint there. You just saw my address. Don't care about that really. Just grab this email. Company user 3. Company 3 user 2. And that's going to be 3.2. Save. All right, what are we doing? We're getting the current customer, so we're logged in here. Senior K
is now following.
Hey, Senior K, welcome and thank you for the follow. Let's see, I missed a bunch here. Yellow lurking a bit. Well, hello, Snobel. Thank you for lurking and hanging around. It's much appreciated. Saw the follow notice and I have to know, is it Engineer Ranger or Engineer Anger? Engineer Ranger. Oh, well, live coding, please contribute away. You are always appreciated, you know that. All right, so we are getting the repository. The user ID is null, so we are a new user. So we're trying to get from email, and we timed out, because of course we did. Get from email, and we already have that. We shouldn't have that. I can see one issue here. I think I know what the problem is. Customer ID would be customer.id. If it's a new user, and otherwise we will, if it's not a new user, we can't find it. We throw a user not found exception and we're good. Right, lukewarm reload, throw duplicate exception, bang. See, user with that mail address already exists. Let's switch this to 3, user 3, save. All right. So the issue was we were creating a user, but we didn't set it to a customer. There, all right, no crash. Company 3, user 3. Everything is looking good. There's a small space in between the email. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. I don't mind if these emails don't go out. Oh yeah, the end is trimmed. Absolutely. But if there is like a space here or something, it doesn't matter. The emails aren't going to go out. And the check for valid emails. I mean, you basically can't check for valid or invalid emails. If you've ever read the spec for what a valid email is, you would be scared. And it's even worse now that we have all these, random TLDs. Can't speak. Let's push the red button. And it disappeared. Perfect. Let's reload that page, just be sure. This works. Right, delivery addresses. Test add 1. Test street 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test city 1 and 0 in the order. That is a horrible user experience. Here we go. We ended up here. Doesn't say that it's saved or anything. Didn't actually save. Why did we not save? Let's try this again. F11. I have a wild idea. We get the customer. Run the model. This is in fact company address ID. All right, so I've loaded up an existing one here. Back to the address list. So I'm updating that. All right, so we do have one. Huh. Is it wrong in the listing then? Let's see. Get delivery addresses should be a function called. Here we go. No addresses. There we go. Run. Getting the current user ID. Yeah, here's the issue. This is getting for the customer ID. Well, I'm calling it customer ID, but it's actually the current user ID. What I need to do here is I need to get var customer would be await, get customer, get current customer, sending cancellation token. Then I need to use customer.id. There, bang, save, run, rebuild, apply changes. Hey, Sirio, Shina, welcome. And what's it complaining about? Oh, that's an int from the type. Yes, I need to do a toString. There. Let's see. Hey, gonna drop off. It's late here. Thanks a bunch. Learned a lot. We'll see you soon. Well, thank you for staying with us. Thank you for being here. And thank you for asking questions. An active chat is always fun. Always. And I'm not going to be on for terribly much longer either. I'm going to validate that these things work. And I'm going to try and fix a couple of the warnings in the user company control file. And that'll probably be it. Let's head into here, load, and we have a couple of addresses. Awesome. Let's update one of these to 2. Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw it, but I created an address twice. Save. We can update this. We end up in the same place. Horrible user experience, I know. And now we have another one. Awesome. Now we're going to go in and we're going to remove this. Delete. Yes, I really want to do that. We're getting the delivery addresses. Yeah, because we're back at this list and the address is gone. This went way better than I expected. So we can now say that that is functionally complete. Functionally complete user company facade. What we're going to do after that is we are going to jump into here to default. I'm going to grab that. We're going to put it straight in facades instead. Come on, drop it. Why you don't want to drop? Oh, I need to stop it. Stop it. It's still running. Hey, Thijs Klatcher 91. Is that how you say your name? Welcome. Much welcome. This operation might take a long time. Don't adjust anything because I already have it in the correct namespace. There. Question now is, why do I have 41 outgoing? Moving a user company facade out of to-do folder. Upload. There. So we are now current with our branch on the interwebs. All right, so of the facades to do, we have checkout. The problem is that is going to also involve payments, these things. And that is a can of worms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make this a bit better, increase the quality a bit. Then I'll do a deploy to live so we can test it with actual users. Koplat, which is the website that you're seeing, is a reference shop and it's always the next version. Duca, I just committed. There are no changes. So yeah, I will take that as a belated commit and not refund you your points. Dark mode, sure, we can do dark mode for 5 minutes. This is dark mode. It's not quite the usual dark mode that you're used to, right? This is my streaming room without the studio lights on. Can you see anything at all? I can't, because it's dark here. Well, you can see my forehead a little bit. We have 5 minutes. That's until 25, so 30-ish. Adrian, thank you for following.
Adrian is now following.
I think I'm clever. I hope Duke is out of points. And I hope no one gets blurry. Hey, travel the world. I am well today, thank you. And how are you? We're currently in dark mode because of Duca. Well, I'm complaining. I love Duca. He's a wonderful human being. I think he's a human being at least. So what have we got here? Remove the field template engine and declare it as a local variable. Sure. Invoice, same thing. And mail service, same thing. So let's grab these. I'm gonna not put those there. We're gonna just do that first of all. Change this to a lowercase. Get rid of those three. Now we have mail service. The problem is I don't think mail service is functionally complete. Happy to hear Travel the World. And Duke and Travel the World are having a dog off. So who's going to win? Who's going to win the dog off? I love BitGamey's pups, by the way. Almost as good as this. And you knew I was gonna use that one, right? You knew it. Just admit it. Clean up the code a tiny little bit. We have some rows that are unused. Do we have anything here? No, we are just doing that. We're keeping the transaction short and sweet. We're not getting inside of the transaction. Should we set up, let's create a pattern here. We're always going to get the customer if we need it. Then we're always going to create the repositories. Or should I always create the repositories first and then get the items I need. I think I'm actually going to do it that way. I think that's a better method. So I create my backing services first, and then I start doing the logic. So try and get the customer. So that can be moved to down. It can't. Never mind. It's used here. What's this? One line smiles. Oh. So I think that's good as such. Get settings. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't use a repository at least. This one does. We are going to grab those two. Move them up there. See, this is how you try and keep your code in check. So if we're not logged in, we really shouldn't be able to reach this at all, though. This should be done on like all the endpoints. Or is that done in get current customer? It is. So we're doing that in get current customer. For some reason, we're doing it twice. Why are we doing it twice? Why are we even... Okay, so we're getting the user ID. We're checking if it's null. If it isn't null, we're trying to get the... This feels repeated. How would you guys deal with this? I don't like repeating my code. I could do this. Try. We can do catch null reference exception. Throw that. Or login. I need to check that as well. Plus I need that outside of this scope. I'm the #1 proponent of it's fine. Yeah, I mean, it could be fine. I'm just trying to clean the code up a bit. This was a bad solution to a stupid problem. Let's back that up a bit. Remove the try as well. At least group these. I mean, if I'm sending get with null, that's going to return null if that is null. So I can actually just remove this entire check. Because if this is a null, then this will return null, which will crash out here. Awesome. And I also think I can do something like throw new not logged in exception. Like that. That's kind of pretty, right? I think that's better. I could always combine this to a single row. Just take that and smack it down there. But then we're starting to get long rows. Even though it's only used in one place, I think I like having that in a variable because this will be jittered away anyways during compile. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's keep moving this around the same way. We're going to get the current user up there. If that is null, we're going to throw out here. Actually, were we down there? Yeah, we're up here, so that's fine. This I'm going to have to move. Should be in the bottom somewhere, just above the mappers, I think. Because it's a function that's being used a bit everywhere, but it's never called directly. Put that there, changes to internal. And I kind of hate internal, but the point is to be able to unit test this function. You can't do privates visible to, you have to do internals visible to. If anyone has a great solution for this, I'm all ears. Could always, move this out to somewhere else, but yeah, no. Let's see, where am I? I am upstairs. Get user. This is where I was. So I just got the current customer. Start the transaction right there. Update it and commit. Because this always exists. Because we always have company settings. Yeah, that's right. And we're getting the login repository. We're getting the current customer. And we're getting the user ID. Yep, this is not complicated. Let's reorder these things as well. Login repo, get the customer ID, which is an int. There we go. Loop through the logins, map that, add it to the return. Yeah, this is also something you can't do with IAsync enumerables at the moment here. Probably later, not right now though. Well, I know later, but not in framework. Get current customer. Get repository should be moved up there. Checking if it's a new user, so we're trusting it, but that's fine because we're creating it from there. Check for duplicates, creating the user, sending a welcome email. If we're not a new user, we are just updating it. This is as short as it's going to be. I mean, we're starting the transaction. Sorry, I should do this. We're checking if it's a new user. Otherwise, we'll update it and then we commit the transaction. Can that be done shorter? I mean, the point would be something like, new user, question mark, login repo dot save. Something like that. But that would also require these. It does not exist in the current context. Oh. Our task equals. Can I do this? Await, bang, and bang. I can. Is that obvious, or is that why are you complicating things? What do you guys think? I'm not sure. I mean, it works. Could be considered horrible, but it works. Definitely prefer the if-else. Also, hello. Hey, Ham Reborn. Welcome. Yeah, I think I also prefer it, actually. So let's get rid of that. Why are you obvious things? I'm trying to clean the code, Duka. And I'm not going to be doing it for much longer, I promise you. Wait, so setting the company user to the current login. Why am I? Oh yeah, this is the object that's being returned. I'm setting it to the ID of the login that was just created. That's fine. That's perfect. Let's see, let's combine these down. Can move that to down here. Can make this actually into a single thing by doing yay. Like so. Less variables, less setters. It's great. I'm almost done here, I promise you guys. We have the repo, getting the customer, getting their ID. Why do I need to put that in a separate variable here? There's no good reason for it. I mean, that's not longer. There, bang, gone. We got the delivery addresses. Sorry, the delivery address. Checking that we found it and that it belongs to us. Otherwise, we'll send that. Otherwise, we'll map it. That's great. This is validation logic. If we're getting errors, we're returning them. That means we don't want to actually create the repo before that line. It is, in fact, up like 8 minutes ago. I'm blind. It was up 8 minutes ago. I am terrible at that. Right, so we create a Boolean here. And remove that. We're creating a Boolean. We're checking if we have that. Then we're checking if we can parse the company ID address. Well, we always can. So that can go away. Again, we can expect, we're sending in the ID as a string here. The whole integer conversion thing is being done in the repository, so that's fine. And then we're checking that we got a result back and that the result belongs to this current customer. And that means I can remove this. Perfect, got rid of some code. Otherwise, we will create the object. Should I make this an if instead? No, I should not. It's fine. Did the cat just say something? Also, my music has stopped. I've got some music in my ears here. I'm not sending it out because DMCA and stuff, but yeah, this will have to do. Again, starting a transaction, can't really do it smaller than this. If you want to be obvious, did I use proper things up here? Yes, I did. I want to have these. If I miss them, it's an error. Move the repo. Now just read get. We are changing this value. I can actually move that to up here, because I only need to wrap the actual update inside of the transaction. There. That's way better than model. Getting the repos, getting the current user, getting the user from the repo. What am I using that for? I'm getting customer ID from here. And that's it. So why am I not? Oh, because I don't want to load the whole customer object, but I mean, I might as well, because right here I'm loading the whole freaking login object. And I am using customer repo anyways, so I could just do our customer equals wait get customer. Get current customer, sorry. I'm going to clean these out. There. That means I can remove this thing and this thing and really this thing. The heck. And that also means I don't need any of these repos. Wait. Guys, I am in get current customer. I'm an idiot. So sorry about that. Okay, so I went one step too far. There we go. That's good. I'm trying to replace the logic to get a thing with itself. which means the logic would be gone. Should I or should I not actually use cancellation tokens here? I think I should. It's going to complain about them not being used, but all right, layout engine is replaced by iTemplate engine. Is iTemplate engine feature complete with layout engine? Let's take a look. Let's go to implementation here. So we have build layout and replace field and conditional on this. Let's go to iTemplate engine, which has compile and conditional. So that is not one-to-one. That's because this takes a view model. Unless I'm mistaken, let's take a look at the internal one, which is what we'd be using. And the view model needs to be a dictionary at the moment. It's not always going to have to be, but right now that's the way it's implemented. All right, so what we want to do here, first of all, we want to inject the templating engine. Use company controller, wrong file, right file. Scroll up like this. Up, up, up. There we go. Private, read-only, iTemplate engine. Like so. And we're going to do... Hey, we have that here already. Oh, but it's being sent into there. All right. Yeah. Template engine. Hey, Coding Garden with 162 viewers. That is the biggest raid I have ever had, guys. Thank you very, very much. It's the biggest raid I've ever had by a long shot. What's up? I am coding at the moment. Duh. Sorry, that was rude. I'm working on converting a WebForms project over into .NET Core. It's an old project, quite old. I think it was started in 2012. And the framework it's built on is abandonware at the moment. So it needs to be updated so we can keep working on it and keep moving it forward. This is Microsoft Java, yes. This is .NET and C#. You are 100% correct. So right now I'm trying to remove dependencies on some static things. So down here, which is where I am right now, we have layout engine, and that's static. So instead I want to do var dict, or let's call it VM. It'd be a new dictionary string. Hey, gotta run. Well, thank you very much for sending your viewers on here. It's much appreciated. Microsoft Java, best Java. Yeah, I agree. It's a good Java. So, how's everyone doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day. And was Coding Garden coding, or was he in the garden? I mean, quite often he's out walking. And, yeah, he has great streams, to be honest. And I also want to add creator. Great, except the values are wrong. So I want to move that up to here first. I'm going to copy this. And the creator is going to be login name. And then want to do string email text would be template engine dot compile. Do I need that? No, I can just do page content. I am unsure now. And VM. I'm going to have to take a look at exactly what this does because I can't remember. Let's see, go to implementation of compile T. String. Compile template contains template ID. All right. So this is just a lookup. And that's fine. It's just trying to, skip a step. Compile template ID is in fact not even used for this one. That's
Third
fine,
email
but
Mazer is now
we'll
following.
call it something. Hey, Erdemi Eli Mazer. I am so sorry I can't pronounce your name. Welcome and thank you for the follow. Let's call this email text. Actually, it's welcome email and template. There. And notice it's a template, and then we have string view model. It's awesome. Want to do that. And I'm going to put a breakpoint here. Why is this not async? This really should be async. But that's going to bring with it a whole nother can of worms. So I don't think I'm going to be doing that right now. 9 references, 3 references. Yeah, no. Later though, it will be changed. I think most of these 9s are unit tests, aren't they? Email util? No, they're actually not. Oh well. Let's clean that up since we're in here. And let's run this, see if the email text comes out as we want it to. So does anyone have any .NET related questions? Or like anything about web shops or .NET Dev or conversion projects? I'm actually trying to write a session on converting from WebForms over to a more modern framework. It's an experience. Right, so we want to create a new user. And that was wrong. That's not great. Log in. Let's grab that one. Is this the one? Yep. And this is the user. Oh, wait, I had a space there. There we go. Much better. Let's try to create a user. I'm sorry about the Swedish here. The next version is going to be internationalized thingy-mig. Let's go back to the list, by the way. Let's grab that one. Users, create new. We're up to 3, I think. Test user, company 3, user 3. Save. Gonna get the current user. Bang. All right, and we're gonna send this email text, and it does in fact look all right. Because send email async here is going to wrap that in the layout. Flickering? What am I doing to flicker? I want to not flicker. I don't want there to be any problems. Am I jumping around too much? Where's this white thing? That seems to have worked though. I'm going to check my email later, but that string looked about right. So let's say that this is more or less done actually. We're at the bottom here. This is never used. Actually, it can be moved, I think. Cannot be moved, but the default value is never used. Hey, thank you very much for the follow. Tell me about yourself. And the same thing with Mazer. I mean, who are you? Do you want to be a part? Or, I mean, lurking is fine. Not saying anything other than that. C# for life. I've been at this for 19 years. I'm not saying I agree, but I sure as heck don't not agree. Let's do what this wants me to do, which is inline these values, which in my opinion does nothing. It actually adds 2 lines, but sure. 19 years, yeah, 2004 is when I started doing .NET first. It was ASP.NET 2, I think, 1.1 or 2. Let me put it like this. We didn't have dictionaries. We didn't have generics, aka we didn't have lists. We had to do var logins, for example, equals new array list. And that has no types. Then to logins, you can just add whatever. And then you have to deal with that yourself and knowing what's in it. It's not difficult to know, but the big problem is that as soon as you try to access something, you need to do something called an unboxing, which is slow. Lists are fast. Yeah, no generic types. Those were the days. Those were not the good days, but they were definitely days. I think I started at 3. Let's see. 3 was... I think 3 might have actually been when generics dropped. It was either 2 or... Yeah, exactly, Weirdbeard. And you backed them with either an array or a list. Was it 2 or 3 with generics? And I think async dropped in 3 or 4? I'm old, is my point. We've gone quite far since then. Yeah, 2 was generics. All right. So I started at 1.1 then, which was just before generics. And they were so welcome. Oh, so welcome. I mean, I was coding in C++ before. Where was it called generics? I can't even remember what it's called. Templates. And I mean, moving to a language that didn't have them felt like such a step back. Oh, partials were in 2 as well. Nice. Yeah, generics was huge. Auto props. All right, yeah. Those were also fun. We used to have to implement our entire properties manually, even if we just had a backing field. It's not difficult, it's just annoying. Clean up. Bang. Best commit message ever. All right, so what do we need to do? We have a static string in our EF context, EF core context, which is not in here. Configuration data. Hold on. The heck? Where am I using that? Did I already fix this? Find all references. Use SQL Server data connection string. All right. And where's our configuration data? Did I already fix this? I did, in fact, already fix this. Only it's not using query strings. Or sorry, it's not using configuration strings here. It's using a app setting, I think. Let's find the implementation of this. 3 references. No! It's good. It's all good. I've been studying C# since the beginning of the year, and it's really inspiring to hear someone has 19 years of experience. It's a huge language. It's not a fancy language. It's not, it's not sexy, unfortunately. Not anymore, at least. But it is used everywhere. If you go into like bigger companies, if you want to work with bigger companies and some startups, then go .NET. The problem is if you want to be sexy, you have to be like, Rust or things like that. Or is Rust still sexy? Python turned sexy after like 25 years or something. I used to do Python back in like way, way before times, before C#. It's an old language. Ruby was really sexy. Try finding a Ruby job now. They're well paid, but they're few and far between, unfortunately. At least here in Sweden. While .NET, for some reason, just trudges on. The entire government in Sweden is built on .NET or COBOL. And Phyllis Nobel, if you're still here, is a COBOL programmer who's making bank. If you really want to earn money, but also kind of hate your life, go into COBOL. That's my tip. And also my don't if you can avoid it. Roku, roar. Roar to you. See, what have we got here? I think this is good. This is in WebForms. This is a web config configuration data in WebForms. Gonna be replaced. Actually, I mean, this handles what's the face? It handles MVC as well, but it's in framework. This thing, so I can actually probably move it, but do I really want to? I don't think so. I'm gonna be bad, so I'm probably gonna stop it there for tonight. It is currently 10 p.m. Thank you very much for sticking around. Thank you very much for all the raids. And I mean, I think this is a new record. I have 86 viewers right now. 84. You're dropping out just because I said I'd quit. It's very nice. Very happy to have it like this. I'm going to raid into a dear friend of mine called Settlix. He's a wonderful, wonderful robot with a robot child. Or a robot son. His overlays are crazy. They're almost as good as Code Rushed. He's building a game. I have no idea what it's about because I'm not there for the game. I'm there for the company because it's freakishly awesome. So before we start the raid, I am going to switch over so I'm actually a part of it. Head over to Zero. Mute him. And thank you very much for sticking around. I'm going to switch over here just to say bye, take care, and have fun. I'll try to be back later this week. Night.